Oh, like
the NBA. So yeah, the NBA they ain't playing no defense.
No D, no hand checking.
At all.
No chest, no fouls, no flagrant fouls, none of that.
Boy,
they just scoring the score.
Look like us up and down at the rec. Only they making shots.
Hold on here. We make our shots, we block shots, all that, dog.
Yeah, I'm playing. Nah, they really not playing no defense though. Like we still got games in the 130s, 140s in regulation. Like what type? Like
towards the end of the season,
bro,
though, right?
Literally the last games, bro. The last couple games.
That's actually funny that you say that.
Because they talked about it the other night. It was like, towards the end of the season, like especially with teams like the Hornets, the Pistons, stuff like that, you should be able to want to, regardless of what team you are, you want to lock down defense towards the end of the season because that you're getting ready for playoff basketball. And playoff basketball is not going to be one of you letting the team score 140 points, okay?
Not one scored last night, bro. It was like 10 games on last night. Not one score ended with both teams under 100 points.
Yeah, you look at the Oklahoma City game against Minnesota, 132 to 126.
Guess what this game about, though?
What is this game about,
Getting
Alex?
buckets.
It's always and will forever be about getting buckets.
All right, Uncle Drew.
This game will always and forever be about getting
it for
buckets.
sure is, though. It's definitely more.
At a certain time,
But
you gotta
149 to 113, now that's terrible. That's awful. Like,
bro.
You see what he mean? You see what he mean,
Bro, it's like 4 teams last night that was over 130 points. The Warriors, the Pelicans, which the Kings was right there. That was at 129. All this is regulation, y'all. The Rockets, the Mavs, and the Grizzlies 129, 127.
But the thing,
Thunder 136, 120. Like come on now.
But the thing about all this is like the evolution of basketball and the evolution of scoring and getting buckets. Like because in the day and age when Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and all them was playing against the bad boys of Detroit and playing against Charles Barkley and stuff like that, is that those like during that time while there was great players and there was great games going on, the television wasn't like how it is now. We didn't have 4K TVs. We didn't have the NBA having these deals with ABC and TNT and ESPN. ESPN wasn't as prominent as it is now. So like what we gotta think of is like how far we come as basketball is like, that we're able to see all 30 teams, stuff like that, and having these big deals and stuff like that. Do I think it's bad though? I think it is bad for basketball that the defense is being, like you're not making it to the next level if you just like, oh, he's an amazing defender as a guard. You're making it to the next level if you're the center and a power forward who's 6'9" and 7 foot and 7'2" blocking shots. Yeah, that's different. But if you're a guard really sitting down and you 5'11", it's hard for you to make it to this next level. But then what I'm saying, we got to look at it as like the growth of basketball and the growth of the exposure, like with social media and then these contracts that we got with ABC, TNT, and ESPN and stuff like that. That's my spiel.
Yeah, but then we also talk about the best hoopers in the world though too. Like, who's to say like they not trying out there? Like,
that's what I'm saying,
you know what I'm saying? Like they trying hard to check James Harden.
No, for real though, they is
hard, sweating.
I think it was Famous Los that said it, bro. Famous
woo,
Los
he just gonna keep scoring it.
Famous Los was like, how many players do you know that can come down and literally give it to any player in the league easily?
No, for real.
Can easily score one-on-one on any player.
Wait a minute.
Like,
pulling up from 7 feet from behind the 3-point line.
That's
Like,
the
here we
low
go.
end. Like, I'm saying it's 30. It's at least 30 players in the league, bro, that can just go get a bucket at any time, like on any player, like on any defender.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the low end of it. You know what I'm saying?
You're absolutely
30,
right.
It can be like correct. Possibly we can name 40, 50 players. That's like.
But how many players in that final 10 seconds can stop somebody?
I'm about to say my thing is. I'm about to say I just feel like everybody's leaning towards. They want everybody just want that big three, or they want that big one or two. Like everybody just playing through one or two people. Like versus back then, everybody played through a team. You went and got Dennis Rodman not because he could score, because he played defense. He got rebounds. He was a hustler. You went and got somebody like Reggie Miller because he could shoot. Though. Like everybody on the starting five played their role. Not everybody on the starting five just out there to get buckets.
I mean, if you look at the Bulls though, I mean everybody. Jordan played his role and everybody else helped out.
They looking for nowadays. They looking for what? Versatility.
Yeah.
And positionless players. Like players that can do everything.
Can't even make the league. Like you can't drill the ball up the court.
The 6'9", like a team full of Texas Tech players. I mean, that's what we need. That's what we're looking for. Like,
that's what we're looking for. But they not making it to the next level.
That can run and jump and shoot.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, when you look at some of these final results in these contests, like you said, Pelicans 133 to 139. Like that's way too many points between those two teams. Those are two ball clubs who will not make the postseason.
I don't even think AD playing right now.
And
I don't think he played like the last couple games.
Nah, he threw.
They're just walking. As far as I'm concerned, they're just walking up and down the court, just shooting, taking turns shooting the ball.
Yeah, bro,
until
like
the fourth quarter, when someone decides, okay, well, somebody has to win today.
Somebody got to win.
Yeah, no. Here's a problem with Elfrid Payton got 26 points. First of all, he can't even shoot a 3-pointer like I can. He can't shoot a jump shot like I can. And I ain't even in the league, man.
Who can?
Like I can.
Who can?
25 for 50, baby. I'm Mr. Magic out here. Stop playing.
Who this man?
No, why? I just watched the Kobe 60 points. He was 22 for 50.
Okay, I'm better than Kobe. That's all you saying. No, it's
He was 44%.
And then the whole time I was watching it, and they were showing like his little thing going up. I'm like, I was thinking about that conversation we had. The 25 out of 50.
25, 50, a lot harder than what I think it is.
Yeah,
but it's all right.
man.
Let me get a bottle of Patron.
Especially
I
in the
bet you I go 10 for 50.
To each his own.
But like, 'cause I ain't really know, you know what I'm saying, too many players that actually put up 50 shots.
Yeah.
And then, you know what I'm saying, I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, Kobe, he climbing up there. You know, I'm like, he actually shot 50
you already
shots.
know Kobe gonna get the mugs up. That's a team surrounded by Kobe, and y'all gonna do y'all job. If y'all not, then y'all fired.
So yeah, I mean, if you look at it, if you look at last night's like box score for each game, only 3 teams were in the 90s. If you look, the Pacers were in the 90s, the Pistons were in the 90s, and Cleveland. Now, all 3 of those teams, are lacking, some form of talent of some sort.
That's crazy, because I'm the type of man, you not finna score on me, and you not gonna keep scoring on me.
That's how I feel, too.
Yeah, no,
Like, I don't care how.
Honestly, that's how I feel, too.
I'm gonna do my thing, but you not gonna keep scoring on me, bro.
That's why the James Harden thing it'll really bother me.
Bro, like I might, I'll fight James Harden,
And
bro.
it's
No, you got 5
James Harden.
You got 6 fouls.
And you got 5 players on that bench that not getting in like that. Use them.
Out of a 3-game series, if you drop 30 points each of them 3 games, you got to see me at the end of the season. We throwing hands,
No,
bro.
for real. And then the thing that bothers me about people, the thing that bothers me about people like James Harden and Steph Curry is like they got in the gym range. So why half court aren't you checking them?
Like full court, like 94 feet.
No, like
the whole way.
And I ain't saying you gotta check him hard, but just enough that you like, okay, if he pull up, I'm at least right there.
Bro.
No, James Harden coming up 7 feet away from the 3-point line.
Yeah, that
Steph Curry at half court.
Hey, folks know what they.
No, he not. He got contact lenses, people now. He got contact lenses now. He couldn't see before.
he couldn't see before?
But I think it's the rim.
Players like that just throw. Yeah, bro. Yeah. It's crazy, ain't it?
Gosh, bro. So my man's
Bro,
out here.
you know what the analogy they said, bro?
Still putting that thing in the rim.
The analogy
I think that's the rim.
The analogy they said was it's like adding a scope to a gun.
Yeah, no.
That's like adding a scope to a gun. Like what?
Wow,
You thought you was accurate before.
You thought
And then he wanted to get contact lenses 10 games before the playoffs start.
Hey, what's crazy though?
Childish.
The first game he had them boys in, he went 1 for 9 from the 3.
Oh, really?
The first game.
He was adjusted.
Yeah.
In the second game, you see,
It was
splashed for 40
Hey,
or something
boy,
like
the rim was a little too close for him. He had to back up a little bit.
He ain't figured out to the last point. So let me pull up for 3/4 court.
He just used that game as a little test trial.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, the defense. I hope it's a lot better in the playoff time.
Because I can finally play 2K again. My bad. I ain't mean to cut you off.
But yeah, no, absolutely. All the players will be back, so that's good. I was trying.
You picking up what I'm putting down?
Yeah, all the players will be back. So no, that's absolutely good. All the injuries and stuff, they won't matter. So yeah, that's good for those who play NBA 2K.
Before we conclude this though, but like I want to shout out to my man's Dwyane Wade though. Been a long time fan, one of my favorite players. It's the conclusion of an era, man. Shout out to him.
I'm glad you said that.
Paul Pierce.
Let's talk about that for a second. over the weekend, somebody said something that was completely blasphemous.
Paul Pierce.
But I get where he's coming from, you know what I'm saying? As a
Paul.
hooper, ain't no hooper really gonna just be like, I think, you know what I'm saying, it was kind of blew out of proportion because basically they put the segment up there, you know what I'm saying? So they kind of railroaded him into the conversation, first of all.
Which they do a lot with Paul Pierce. They be on his head.
Yeah, they do it a lot. You know what I'm saying?
on his head.
Like they use him to compare, you know what I'm saying, to other great players and stuff. And he
But
up
it's
here
ways to be
sitting up
politically
there,
correct out here.
But he got to defend himself, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, ain't no hooper.
As a man,
Yeah, ain't no hooper
competitor.
who actually played at that, you know what I'm saying, at the high, you know what I'm saying, he played at the highest level, you know what I'm saying, he won championship, you know what I'm saying, championship.
Played against him too. You know.
So it's like, it's kind of hard to make the man just be like, oh, no, you know what I'm saying, Dwyane Wade had a better career than me. But, you know what I'm saying, I think like Gabrielle Union and all them, like they blew it all out of proportion. They're like talking about a black man tearing down another black man.
It was never that big. But if you want to look at it ultimately, and when you get in the NBA, you have one goal.
Basketball.
No, for real. But you have one goal when you get to the NBA. To win a championship. Dwyane Wade got 3, regardless of who helped him out, whatever you want to say about it.
Yeah.
He has 3 championships.
My only thing with Paul Pierce,
With
bro.
Shaq, still one of my favorite players. But I'm just saying, I'm still, you know, he got 3. Paul Pierce got 1. Then in the boo boo.
Me and Jay, shout out to Jay, our other roommate.
Shout out Jay.
Me and Jay discussed this earlier, like we was talking about, you know what I'm saying, like Dwyane Wade, he actually has a period, like, you know what I'm saying, 05, 06 season to actually where he was, you can, you know what I'm saying, some people consider him as the best player in the league at that time.
Yeah, because it
You know
wasn't
what I'm saying?
stopping him, bro.
And Paul Pierce,
He on top of the
yeah.
This is my house. This is my house. If that ain't make you a D-Wade fan, I don't know what should.
And you know what I'm saying? And I think like all the great players, you know what I'm saying, that we look at as the great players, you know what I'm saying, to come through the NBA, I think they all have that, you know what I'm saying, like at least that under their belt, like a time where, you know what I'm saying, considered them the best, you know what I'm saying, of all time, you know what I'm saying, or like in the league at a time, and Paul Pierce, not really, you know what I'm saying?
No, we knew he was great, but we never was like
great, but he never was the best player in the NBA.
To me, in my eyes, he been old since he entered the league.
Yeah, but I say my thing is he is old. Like he came in a long time ago, like back when Kobe and them had came in. But
what 98? Yeah, Paul Pierce came in 98 draft.
Yeah, so he was always good, but my thing, he never was like, his team was never championship contenders until he collabed with like Ray Allen.
That's what he said. Yeah, that's what I think that's what. I think that's why like what overshadows like his career and everything. Like he had a great career, but he just didn't do nothing to the back end. And then as soon as they did something, that was it. Yeah, that was the peak.
That was it.
That was the peak
But
moment.
even if that peak was towards the back of his career, like I don't know, like Paul Pierce is great, and I would never take that away from him. But at the same time, it's like, you know, like you just wasn't that on your own.
Yeah,
you just wasn't Wade.
He digs himself in that hole too sometimes, because he do be like acting like he more than what he was.
Yeah,
you know?
No, Wade was getting triple team, quadruple team, and still going to the hole. He couldn't shoot, but was still putting up buckets.
Yeah, he's a shooting guard that can't shoot threes.
And it don't matter. Don't you ever disrespect him.
No, he's a shooting guard that can't shoot threes, and he's the top 3 shooting guard of this generation.
Exactly.
Of all time.
Of all time, though.
So definitely, you know, we hope that, you know, Miami Heat can make the playoffs. We hope the Pistons can make the playoffs.
Kind of don't though. Kind of want the Pistons to make it, and that be that. You know, I love Wade and all that, but you had your time in the sun. Like, let Detroit finally make it back to the promise.
It's crazy, bro.
The outskirts.
How you guys feel about
the
Orlando?
outskirts.
Did y'all see this?
Oh, Orlando, that's lit. They made
When he threw his headband into the stands and they threw it back.
No, I went to your page and saw that though.
He caught
That would never happen to D-Wade. D-Wade could throw his underwear in the stands. They gonna keep him.
See, you listen. All right. Dwyane Wade, Dwyane Wade got his farewell tour. What did they say? You ain't Kobe.
You ain't Kobe.
He'll love you like that, Paul Pierce. So, you know,
but then it's just the type of person, the type of people they was while they was in the league, though. You know, like Paul Pierce was like, and that's one of the things why he's one of the players that I like too, though, because he was grimy, man. He was, I don't care about you. I'm coming out here to beat you. You know, D-Wade after the game, like within them 40 minutes, whatever, you know, it's you ain't my friend. But after the words, you know, Paul Pierce gonna walk off the court like, whatever, bro. You know, we just battled out. Hey man, God bless y'all. Gonna let me talk for this empty second. No. We not looking at that. Yes, Malik. I know, but no.
While we talking about NBA, shout out to big homie D-Lo from Ohio State. You know.
Oh yeah.
Out in the Nets, out there doing his thing.
Shout out D-Lo. He got ice in his veins.
Oh yeah. Go ahead and get that man most improved, all that.
So with that being said, Bud, who better? Who gonna be better in the end of their career?
Who you talking about, D-Lo and Zoe?
Yes.
I already knew you was I already knew it. Lonzo Ball for sure.
I'm gonna disagree with you on that, but even though you my main man. Hey, shout out to my man's birthday on Wednesday.
Hey, Aries gang.
We lit.
He's lit.
It's definitely gonna be lit.
Lastly, shout out Kyle Korver. I see you got that up there.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that.
Shout out Kyle Korver, man, for saying what needs to be said. You know what I'm saying? We've been beating a dead horse.
Explain that situation. Explain why you brought up Kyle Korver. Explain that situation to the
I haven't got around to reading the Players Tribune article, but from what it looks like, he wrote a Players Tribune segment or piece or whatever we want to call it, talking about his privilege. You know what I'm saying? Him living in privilege and how, you know what I'm saying, he's finally realizing it, you know what I mean? Probably from, being teammates with Brian, you know what I'm saying, who's one of the social justice warriors, you know what I'm saying, we got out here on the front line, you know what I mean? So, shout out to Kyle Korver for, putting that out there, you know what I'm saying, and voicing, his thoughts on that subject.
Exactly. I mean, last night, me
takes a lot of courage.
Me and Zach had the opportunity to talk about, things like this and the fact of, people with privilege, I won't sing out any race or whatever, but people with privilege, not knowing their privilege and that making them a part of the problem versus a solution to the problem, because it's while you might not be openly calling me out of my name and derogatory marks and all that, but if you're just sitting back there and letting all that fly by as if it doesn't mean anything and you're a part of the problem. So for Kyle Korver to sit there and acknowledge his privilege and then sit there and be him actively every day trying to fight that privilege and being able to be social justice warrior like LeBron, that means a lot, coming from where we are, because, we don't have a lot of people or outside of our race who are openly fighting for us and openly admit that, just because of my privilege doesn't mean that I won't fight for you.
And to give it further details regarding Kyle Korver in the Players Tribune, it was just two of the incidents that he kind of detailed on was the first incident with Thabo Sefolosha in the New York club incident, him being in the club in 2015 and him being arrested, and just the police brutality that took place with that arrest. Thabo Sefolosha being targeted, as a black man by law enforcement in New York, and one of the first things that Kyle Korver his thought process was that why was Thabo Sefolosha actually at the club, during the back-to-back. Excuse me, as opposed to what actually happened to, Sefolosha. And so that he talks about that a little bit in the piece, and then I'm just going to quote here. He says, "What I'm realizing is no matter how passionately I commit to being an ally, and no matter how I'm unwavering my support is for the NBA and the WNBA players of color, I'm still in this conversation from the privileged perspective of opting into it, which of course means that on the flip side, I could just easily opt out of it. Every day I'm given that choice, and I'm granted that privilege based on the color of my skin." Now again, Kyle Korver, a 15-year NBA veteran, now playing for the Utah Jazz. He is now a current teammate of Thabo Sefolosha, and so they're very close. Kyle Korver and Sefolosha actually each had an opportunity to get to know each other during their times in Atlanta, and so just to hear these words, from a player in the NBA, a league that's 75%, black or people of color, it says a lot, right, Malik?
I'm sorry, I was reading.
No, I mean exactly. So just just get your thoughts on the Kyle Korver situation. On where he stands with his privilege today.
Well, from what I read so far, I didn't really get too deep into it. But from what you were saying, from what Alex was saying, and the general consensus and what I got from it, we do need more people like him to step up and make it aware. You feel me? Because a lot of people, they're really ignorant to the facts, and a lot of times, like, they may say something and say, oh, it's a joke, but it don't seem like no joke. It's really not meant to be a joke. You feel me? Yeah. It's meant to be harmful. It's meant to be derogatory, and they take those things as jokes. Like, we was talking about the Redskins. Like, people walking around here saying Redskins, not knowing that's a derogatory term and everything.
Absolutely.
But if we were more self-aware of our actions and everything, then we probably wouldn't say Redskins. We probably wouldn't have a team called the Redskins. Same thing with the R word. I'm going to just say it so everybody know what it is. Retarded. We saying retarded is a bad word. We know that. But now that we're more conscious about it, we've stopped saying it so often. Same thing with race. Like, the more conscious like that like Jamar said, that majority group is, the more conscious they are of the minority group, then we can get past all the racism and all that stuff. And unfortunately, I feel like it happens in schools. Like, we teach like racism and everything, slavery and all that is a good part of our culture that we need to know. But unfortunately, like that, I feel like that's breeding more and more racism in the schools and everything, because we constantly teaching it. It's constantly part of our history. Like, and then we got movies coming out about it and all these other books coming out about racism and slavery and all that stuff. And like, I get it, we want to teach it, but it's kind of like
we can't ignore
they just keep reminding us of the hate and all the things that we've been through. And I ain't saying we forget about it. I'm just saying, why do we got to keep reminded of it? You feel me? Why do we got to be reminded of it? Why do we got a Black History Month for? Like, why do we got a Black History Month? We only celebrating Black History for a month out of the 12 months. The other 11 months that we've been here, it don't matter.
And I agree with you on the Black History effect, and I agree with you totally. I would just think that, like, as far as like with the constant reminder of racism and stuff like that, it's not. I don't look at it for myself. I don't look at it as a constant reminder. I look at it as like, you know, like, if I don't know about it, if I don't know wrong, then there's no way that I can do right.
Let me put it this way. I think it's good for our people, but it's bad for them because it's teaching them racism. It's teaching us togetherness, but it's teaching them. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's teaching us
black
togetherness.
Black folks came over here as slaves, and you know what I'm saying, they should be, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's teaching us togetherness as black people, but it's teaching them hate, and it's teaching them the old way of things and how things ought to be. You feel me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then that conversation also goes back to like how we hate. We also had this conversation earlier in one of the podcasts about like the microscope that, you know what I'm saying, black athletes is under, and like how he said like that's unfair to Thabo Savalosha. Is like, oh, why is he at the club, you know what I'm saying, or in back to back, you know what I'm saying? That's unfair for him to, you know what I'm saying, for his mind, that, like, you know what I'm saying, he called it out, like, you know what I'm saying, for his mind to automatically go to that, you know what I'm saying, after this man has been harassed,
you automatically put that person in the wrong.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like black athletes is under, you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, a thinner, you know what I'm saying, I don't even know, like a microscope to where, like, you know what I'm saying, we have to be perfect all the time, you know what I'm saying, as black men, period, not even athletes, but black men, period, we always have to be, you know what I'm saying, perfect. Even us, you know what I'm saying, being in this you know what I'm saying, this institution of higher education, you know what I mean? It's like they still look at us as like products of affirmative action, you know what I'm saying? Even though some of our test scores actually, you know what I'm saying, blow, you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, can blow theirs out of the water. But
exactly.
But, you know what I'm saying, the superiority mindset, you know what I'm saying, and the thinking is always like, oh, you know what I'm saying, so why, you know what I'm saying, why are you at the club anyways? You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be at the club. You know what I'm saying? Black men can't go to the club. You know what I mean?
Like, it ain't, is he okay? What's going on?
Yeah, it's not, is he okay? Why are you at the club?
Because at the end of the day, he wouldn't have thought that about another one of his white teammates. You know?
Yeah, one of his peers, he would have been like, you know what I'm saying?
And then
World War III.
Let's go get him.
No, exactly. And then
call
like,
my lawyer.
Like, piggybacking off what y'all saying right now, I had a chance to read like a small snippet of about like black on black crime, and it's like there's no such thing. And it's like, and when I seen it, I was like, oh, well, what does that mean? Like, there is, like, you know, if a black person commits another crime, a black person, that's crime, right? It's like, well, no. Like, you know, like, because there's no such thing as white on white crime, there's no such thing as Asian on Asian crime, there's no such thing as Mexican on Mexican, Hispanic on Hispanic, you know, whatever you want to call it. Not whatever you want to call it, but Mexican on Mexican or Hispanic on Hispanic. You know, there's no such thing as those crimes. Because when you say that, when you say black on black crime, it's a learn to the fact. It's a learn to a light that's saying that black people are more, you know, like more criminal than everybody else. When that's not the fact. You know, it's just, it got something to do with, you know, like, well, if it's a community of all black people, of course it's gonna be. Of course, if I rob somebody, it's gonna be a black person because we're in the same community. You know, like that's just how it happens to be.
Circumstantial, yeah.
You know, but that's just the condition that we've been in America. Like we're conditioned to think this way. We're conditioned, and then it's great that people like Kyle Korver are starting to like break out of that mind, that prison of their mind to be like, okay, I shouldn't be thinking of like why was he there instead of just thinking like, oh, that's another person in the league that I should care about. What's going on? Like why? Like what's the problem here? Yeah, no, yeah. Instead of oh well, what was he doing there? Like no, that doesn't even matter. It's like the same thing. It's like if I'm shot in my neighborhood, don't ask me why I was there. Ask why I was. Like what happened? Like don't say like well why was Jamar even there? Like that doesn't even matter. The problem is that somebody lost their life. There was a problem there. It's the same thing with Nipsey. It's like, why was he there? It's no thing like that. It doesn't. Yeah, and because he was a Crip that was gang related, it doesn't matter if he was a Crip. It was still another person shot at the end of the day. Like, let's take away color and all that. It was another life lost. Somebody that really. That was really educating about uplifting other humans, man. It's crazy.
If you look at that, the LeBron post when he was like the death of Nipsey Hussle was like, a tragic American history. Oh man, if you look under the comments on that, all the anonymous bots under there spewing hate. Oh my gosh, that's
crazy, man.
That's tough.
It's
like
crazy.
The things that these people.
But if that was Donald Trump that had died, that would have been a national. Boy, look. Whatever it would have been for y'all, it would have been a national holiday for me because I've been turned up. All right, I'm gonna be honest with y'all today. That's my moment right there.
So another thing I want to just touch on real quick with the Kyle Korver piece, some more words that he was able to say was that I don't think I have all the answers yet, but here are the ones that are starting to ring the most true. I have to continue to educate myself on the history of racism in America. I have to listen. I'll say it again because it's that important. I have to listen. I have to support leaders who see racial justice as fundamental, as something that's at the heart of nearly every major issue in our country today, and I have to support policies that do the same. I know that as a white man, I have to hold my fellow white men accountable. We all have to hold each other accountable. We all have to be held accountable, period. Not just for our own actions, but also for the ways that our inactions can create a safe space for toxic behavior. That was in the Players Tribune, courtesy of Kyle Korver. Your reaction to that, Mr. Jamar?
It's all facts, man.
It's all facts?
All factuals.
Why do you believe so?
Because, like you said, if you ignore the problem, you're just a part of it. You know what I'm saying? I can't even think of the word I'm looking for right now, but like instead of condemning it, you like, you know what I'm saying? You basically condoning. There you go. Condoning.
Accessory to the situation.
It's like you just condoning it if you just turn a blind ear to it, you know what I'm saying, or a blind eye or whatever, you know what I mean? And like you said, you got to continue, you know what I'm saying, to educate himself. Like we said, because most of the time, like Jamar was saying, like most of the time, the history books, you know what I'm saying, bam, slavery, you know what I'm saying, bam.
Jim Crow,
bam, you know what I'm saying? Then it's like, oh, you know what I'm saying?
Happy day. Like no, we're not gonna talk about everything. We're not gonna talk about everything in between.
It goes slavery, Jim Crow, Martin Luther King. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, boom, it's gone. You know what
as if everything's okay right now.
Like it's all good. You know what I mean?
Now, all that stuff wasn't 200 years ago, 300 years ago. It was about
50,
60 years ago.
60, nah.
But no, got ancestors in them times. You feel me?
Nah, for real though.
It's recent.
Yeah. No, me and Zach had the long conversation last night about it and stuff like that, and things that I didn't think about. Like. Little insight about me and Zach. Like on 6th grade, I got introduced to a more Caucasian atmosphere. I went to a more predominantly white middle school that was a high school as well. Zach ended up going to 9th grade, going to Nouvelle, which is a predominantly white high school in Saginaw. So like we had this conversation about about having white peers and white friends that like. We think are cool people, and aren't racist at all. But you gotta look at it as like if you aren't speaking up about my problem and standing up for me, then you're about the problem. So like, and I definitely agree with Zach now. Like last night, like we had a debate about it and stuff like that. But like I see more of what he's talking about now because like if you weren't gonna fight for me, then you're basically fighting against me. You know, and then like what I said about what I said earlier, you know, like, you know, racism is still alive and well today, you know, so we can't sit here and act like it's a problem that was solved in the history books, because history is to let us know what happened. You know, it doesn't mean it was an end of what happened in the past. Like, it's still happening today. You know, like you can look at politics today and see there's still a problem. You know,
just like we got, you know what I'm saying, grandmothers and granddads that lived through Jim Crow. You know what I'm saying? It's also, you know what I'm saying, we also have our, you know what I'm saying, our white counterparts who also have granddads and, you know what I'm saying, grandfathers who actually contributed, you know what I'm saying, or, you know what I'm saying, actively, you know what I'm saying,
was a part of it,
you know what I mean?
Accepting Jim Crow.
Accepting it, you feel me? So it's like, you know what I'm saying, it's like basically we trying to bridge together 2 generations, you know what I mean, to, you know what I'm saying, to which is, you know what I'm saying, I don't know, it's getting better. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna say, you know, so we can lose hope for the world or whatever, but vote. Make sure you get out and vote.
I got 2 things. One thing, I feel y'all, because I feel like, I'm gonna just go ahead and say it, white folks, if I'm in a room with 10 white folks, or 9 white folks, and it's 10 of us, and it's 9 of them, 1 of me, and the KKK came in there shooting, or the police came in there shooting, or whatever happened, guess who's safe? Guess who not safe?
the 9 individuals.
Whether they're my friends, whether they're my family members, whether I've known them my whole life, they don't know that. They just see 1 black man and 9 other white folks. And that's my attitude towards a lot of things. I ain't saying I'm racist. I ain't saying I don't like white people, none of that. I'm just saying, you can say you with me all you want, but if a revolution was to go down today, it don't matter whose side you on, like, you safe.
Because at the end of the day, you wasn't born like us, you weren't made like us, you know, like, you know, like, and you know, you can thank God for that and everything, but at the end of the day, you know, like, you don't feel the way I feel, you know, like, if I'm riding in the car with one other white person and the police get behind me, I'm still sweating, I'm still hot, you know, while they just cool, calm, and collect, because they haven't been raised and trained to think like that, you know, so. At the end of the day, if you take one thing away from this podcast, you know, like, be a part of the solution, not part of the problem.
And like Malcolm X, I think it was Malcolm X that said this, if you stab me 9 inches in my back and pull it out 6, that's not progress. Yeah. If you pull the knife all the way out, that's not progress. Progress is going ahead and healing that wound and making it better, you feel me? All that other stuff, that's not progress. Just because I'm helping you pull the knife out, that don't mean I still ain't stab you.
Exactly.
It ain't an apology until I try to fix what I have broken. You feel me?
On that note, wow, I wasn't even expecting this to go the way it went in, like, the direction, but I love it.
Go crazy.
You know, yeah, absolutely. If you have not checked out the piece by the Players Tribune by Kyle Korver, please go and check that out. It is titled "Privilege." It's by Kyle Korver. He's basically just reflecting on how he was unaware of his white privilege and how he's now going to hold himself accountable to call out racism in America. And so on that note, this has been The Rundown. I want to thank you all for listening. RIP Nipsey Hussle. Definitely happy retirement to Dwyane Wade. Gentlemen, say goodbye to the people. Congratulations to Baylor and their women's championship for college basketball. Just a phenomenal job and a stellar season for that program. Only losing 1 game the entire season. I'll let the people know who you are.
It's your boy Al Boogie signing out.
Marty Martin, this thing.
League Hustle, you know what it is.
And that concludes the Rundown Podcast.